Hello guys, welcome back. We'll start from where we left. We learned about the Arab expansion in the last class. Today we'll do a more interesting topic of the age of exploration. So the age of exploration is generally referred to as a period when the Europeans started exploring the rest of the world. Surprisingly and suddenly, the Arab exploration came to a grinding halt for regions best known to them. But on the other hand, there was the exploration of the Europeans, which expanded very rapidly thanks to the support and backup by the government itself, and also various companies which supported and encouraged these explorations. So Europe suddenly started exploring in various waves and in far off lands, and it also the most of these explorations of the Europeans was very well planned, very well organized. Again, partly due to the tremendous support it received from all corners. The major turnaround that came up was to the geographical learning, because Europe was exploring various lands and bringing back a wealth of information which improved the knowledge of geography. And it not only just improved the knowledge of geography, but it also replaced a lot of ideas and myths which the earlier geographers had, bringing in outlandish stories, etc. And then these explorations of the Europeans also brought in a lot of excitement to go to the open seas. So though there were a variety of factors which led to the sudden expansion of the exploration by the Europeans, for our convenience and clarity, we can divide these factors into say three factors. So one was, of course, the push factors, that is the fall of the Mongolian empire, which led the restriction of routes towards the east, and so the trade got reduced and also the goods became very expensive. The other push factor is the fall of Constantinople at the hands of the Ottoman Turks. This also very drastically reduced the trade, and the goods became expensive and all that, so that Europeans did not have any other option but to look for different routes and explore new lands for improving their trade. The other important factor is the motivational factors, like what motivated the Europeans to really go out and explore so much as they did. So you can remember this as three G's, that is gold, glory and God. So coming to gold, it was the a rising banking system and the bullion that motivated the Europeans to acquire gold, not only gold but also silver and other precious metals, etc. And the other G, that is glory, this was the aftermath of Renaissance and Reformation, where individuals were also being given credit for their achievements. So this encouraged and inspired a lot of individuals to bring in their explorations and show. And this was again backed by the rise of printing press, because all the exploration activities which were being carried by even individual efforts were getting published, and they were getting the recognition, and this led it as a fillip for them to further explore. And even the kings wanted to get themselves published, so they wanted each of them to become popular through their exploration. So this also helped. Coming to the God fact, this is a stage where while the Europe was exploring and expanding, they also wanted to spread what they thought at that time, and that Christianity is the best solution for many of the problems and evils. So they started spreading Christianity, and it was also supported by the colonialist and expansionist activities of the Europeans, wherein they thought they can convert the native people of the land which they have occupied into Christians and Catholics, etc. So these are the three factors which all crystallized together and led to the ever expanding exploratory activities undertaken by Europe. And this was also backed by consequently the expansion and usage of lot of maritime machinery and equipment. So the use of say the Meridian compass also improved the exploratory activities, the use of better maps, better colored maps, all that which were brought up during the Arab expansion. And then there was also this Astrobol, and then there was this much developed version of Astrobol, the sextant, where do the navigation and identify the targets, and also exactly measure the latitude and the grids and the direction for the ships to move. And another very biggest technological breakthrough was the development of caravel ships. These caravel ships were able to go against the wind, and they had much better balance. And this was again followed by another technological innovation, that of bilge pump. This bilge pump enabled the ships not to sink in the water which gets accumulated below that. So this caravel type of ships and the bilge pump greatly helped the navigation and shipping of that time. So during this time, a lot of geographers also contributed during the exploratory activities. It was started with Peter Henry, who defeated the Muslim base near the Strait of Gibraltar, and then took over and started one of the biggest navigators. He is popularly known as Peter Henry the Navigator. He was followed by Columbus, who went on trying to reach Asia through the west region instead of Africa. Of course, he went on, instead of going to Asia, he landed up in Americas, and he discovered the America. And then we also had this Behaim, who first invented the globe in its perfect form, and wherein he had put in all the features of Earth on that globe, which was followed by Peter Apian, who depicted the whole world in a heart shape. And this was followed by Mercator, the orthorhombic and cylindrical projection, which is even used till today. That's one of the most popular projections of that time, and it has stood the test of time, and even now in school we learn Mercator projection. Followed by Copernicus, who believed in heliocentrism instead of geocentrism. Earlier the Earth was in the center of the universe, and all the other celestial bodies were in and around that, but now Copernicus brought in the concept of heliocentrism, where the sun is in the center of the universe. This was later further improved on by Galileo and also Kepler. Then we had this Munster, who showed the heads on the chest of the men, and these were some outlandish ideas and stories which were brought out by some of the explorers. Then you had Cluerius, who built in the 6-volume encyclopedia, bringing in all the travels stories together in one encyclopedia, and this was eventually got translated into English. One of the first English translation or the first English encyclopedia on geography was done by Carpenter. So these are the geographers who took all that that was received from the explorers, and how they developed geography and they took geography to a very different level. I will now show you a few slides on the age of exploration, and just to follow it up with what I've said. So let's move on to the presentation. So this is the age of exploration. You can see the caravel ship on the left, and you can see the Henry the navigator after completing exploration and putting in his flag there. So from 1400s to 1700s, Europe has experienced an age of exploration. So what exactly is age of exploration? It is just a time period of when the Europeans began to explore the rest of the world, and improvements in map making, rigging and navigation made these explorations possible, and there was also blue water sailing over and above the just using of the coastal boats. The blue water sailing is nothing but going into very deep, unfathomed waters, which can sometimes be dangerous. But as a part of the challenge and going into the open seas as an adventure, the Europeans also went into the blue water sailing. And then the policy of mercantilism, where mercantilism means basically reducing the imports and increasing the exports, and the idea that there is only limited wealth, so any country or continent which wants to take that wealth should form these kind of policies and ensure that they export more by way of trade. Then why did the Europeans want to explore? I told you in the overview that there are quite a few reasons, among which the three important were one was the push factors, the other was the motivating factors, and the other was the enabling factors, that is the improvements in technology and maritime activities and improvement in navigation and sailing, etc. So the push factors were the decline of Mongol Empire and also the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Turks, both of which resulted in blockage of trade routes towards the east, and also the increase in the prices of various commodities, and very expensive commodities also led Europeans to explore alternate routes. So this is the Ottoman Turks Muslim Empire. This is how both fell and then led to a lot of inhibitions and blocks in trade. So the three G's, gold, glory and God. Gold was the hot item for the explorers. It was just not the material gold, but also the actual wealth related to it. And of course Europe also needed gold because of the rising banking system. And then Europeans also desired spices. In fact, Vasco da Gama voyaged made nearly 3,000% profit. The other natural resources would come to be sold for profit as well, included sugar, timber, tobacco, ivory, etc. And this competition of all this trade was increased by the policy of mercantilism. The second glory is a relatively new idea in Europe. It has come into being by the virtue of the Renaissance and the Reformation, wherein Renaissance recognized the concept of new humanism and also recognition of individual talent and appreciation and acknowledgement of individual talents. And then with the rise of the printing press, the idea of gaining fame for one's action was being published and printed for all to know. So this also encouraged them and kind of motivating factor for people to do better. Also, individual kings wanted the glory for their kingdom, so the competition also spread. And the third G is the God. As members of the universalizing religion, Europeans always had been spreading Christianity as a good thing, as a good way of life, and they continued to spread much more rigorously during the exploration activities. And then colonization also became a kind of a race to convert native people to a particular brand of Christianity. So the new technologies, as I have already discussed during my overview of this chapter, the Caravel is a new, faster, more maneuverable ship because it had triangular sails instead of the triangular ones. So the triangular sails made it easy to change the direction. And then the bilge pump system, normally the water used to get accumulated just below the ship. This bilge system would pump out all that water and enable the ship to move more freely. And then of course the compass, astrolabe, map, sextant and other technologies borrowed from the Islamic culture all helped and crystallized together and gave an impetus to the explorations. So this is the new maritime technology, better maps, astrolabe, and then the mariner's compass, and the sextant, and also the weapon technology. Part of Caravel was the wheel lock. All this enabled explorations much better. So how the exploration began with the Henry the Navigator, who took over the Muslim occupation in the strait near the Strait of Gibraltar and started his first exploration. Then it was Christopher Columbus. This also I have already told you, and this is the voyages of Columbus. He wanted to take the western route and travel to Asia. Instead of coming to Asia, he went to America and he discovered America. And then this is Martin Behaim, who invented the first globe, as you can see, which represents all the physical features of the Earth. And then Peter Appian, who produced a heart-shaped map of the Earth. And then the Mercator projection, which is one of the most popular projections at that time, and it is even used today. It's an orthorhombic cylindrical projection, as you can see here. And then the Copernicus idea of heliocentrism, where the sun was to be in the center of the universe, unlike the geocentric, which was believed earlier, wherein the Earth was in the center. So here you can see the sun in the center and all other celestial bodies and the planet surrounding it. Then the Sebastian Munster brought in this cosmography, which went on for quite a few number of years. It was quite popular. He also brought in a lot of stories and tales about, including those of men having their heads on the chest like this. And then the Cluverius, he brought in the 6-volume compendium on universal geography, which included all the aspects of and all the inputs gathered from various explorers, and brought in a 6-volume encyclopedia. The first 6-volume, this encyclopedia of geography in English was made by Nathaniel Carpenter. This is what it is, and this spread the knowledge of geography far and wide, because a lot of people could read in English. So guys, that is all for today as far as the age of exploration is concerned. Try to remember those few geographers' names and what they contributed, and we'll catch up with the next contribution of geographers, more interesting to come by. So stay tuned, stay safe, please study well. This is a very crucial and an important period for all of you students who concentrate during this period. Will get into good ranks without wasting time. So please study, try to complete the geography optional by much before January. Okay guys, catch up and bye.